In my last relationship, the thing I'd been dreading all along finally happened one day. You see, the signs had always been there, but I chose to ignore them because I really liked her and I was determined to make it work one way or another. I thought it was all or nothing. And so even though the signs had always been there, I can only see them clearly now that I look back after it's all over. Because back then I thought everything was normal, but looking back now, it wasn't. The first thing I learned, and I shared this in another video, it's that red flags, they only get worse and not better. You see, when we're in the relationship, we tend to think that the red flags will get better over time because as this person gets to know us better and they get more comfortable, they'll only want to do better. But the problem is that it's the opposite that's true. The red flags actually get worse over time because as the person gets more comfortable with you, they don't try as hard. You see, at the start they're being nice, and so if their version of being nice is showing a bunch of red flags, then when they stop being nice to you, is that really the person you want to date? So what I would advise you to do, if you are in a relationship right now, or if you're considering it with someone, is make a list of the things that you love about this person and the things that you wish were different. Don't bother including stuff that doesn't really make a difference, but write down things you really like about them. Maybe it's things like their humor, the smile, the hobbies they're into, and then write a list of the negatives, stuff like taking ages to reply, or cancelling plans, or lying straight to your face. This will help you understand this other person better, because the chances are you can see the red flags even at the start, but you choose to ignore them because you hope they'll get better, or you pretend that they're not as bad as they actually are. You pretend that they're not damaging to you when they are, because, and I learnt this the hard way, the things you ignore at the start usually end up being the things that end it. For me, the biggest red flag I would say was that it was honestly difficult for me to be able to tell if she wanted me or not. For the majority of the, what we would call a talking stage, before we became official, I always thought that she was just trying to slowly let me go in a nice way. I wasn't actually sure if she wanted me or not. So then after we became official, it only took about 3 weeks and she had already left. So the thing that I saw right at the start, right from the start, ended up being the thing that ended it. The second lesson I learned, and this one's really important, it's about inconsistency. You should never ignore inconsistency because you deserve so much more than someone who cancels plans, who gives mixed signals, one day they're hot, one day they're cold, someone who sometimes takes hours to reply and other days they reply instantly depending on how they're feeling. You deserve more than that. Especially if you are willing to always be there for them. You deserve someone who's always there for you. And inconsistency is a big thing because it shows you how much this person is actually willing to give in the relationship, how serious they are. Because actions are always more important than words. Remember that. It doesn't matter what they say, it's about how they act. You see, in my relationship, we always said that we wanted something serious. This was coming from both sides. I made sure to ask her at some point how serious she wanted to be. And I was so happy to find out that she thought that everyone around us wasn't serious enough and that she wanted to be different from that. Well, I learnt my lesson. The problem is that at this age, most people will be inconsistent because people don't know what they're after. They like a bit of attention, so they'll keep chasing it until they realise that, oh no, they're actually leading someone on, and then they'll just leave like nothing happened. Sometimes they'll do it intentionally, sometimes they'll do it by accident. So my advice to that is that you're just gonna have to stay away from people who are inconsistent. I know it's difficult, especially if there's so many people around you that are potential matches, but they just don't follow through with their actions. But be kind to yourself and really think about if you want to spend at least the next year or two with someone who is difficult to trust, or even worse, can't be trusted. You will be able to spot inconsistency, trust me, because when you start feeling confused or anxious, don't do what I did and start researching why you feel that way. It's most likely because they're not showing consistent behaviours that you can feel secure in. And by all means, give second chances, or in fact, give third chances and fourth chances. Give as many chances as you would want them to give you. Maybe sometimes they cancel plans, and we all do sometimes. But if they constantly do it to the point where half of the plans you were supposed to go to were cancelled because of this other person, then you should rethink whether you want to be with them or not. Now third, this one is quite tricky, especially for people our age. And what it is that you can't make this other person your whole life. You can't start moulding your life around them. Sometimes you'll have to give up one or two things for them, and that's okay. That's the whole point. But if you start giving up everything one by one just to spend time with this other person or to give them what they want, then you start losing yourself. And if you lose yourself, then this other person won't want you anymore, because they want you, not the version of you that you think they want you to be. So don't start ditching friends or sacrificing hobbies, and don't always be available. Have your own life, and they can make up a good percentage of it. Maybe if you don't want to stop going to the gym, you can even go to the gym with this other person. That's okay. But don't quit the gym just because you want to spend more time with them. Just because you finally got into a relationship does not mean it's time to stop working on yourself. This actually means it's time to work harder on yourself, because now you have an extra reason to work on yourself. You can do it for them. And if you want to know whether you already have a life or not, ask yourself, how much control do they have over your mood? If you get to the point where the only thing that makes you happy is good moments with them, or if you've had a bad moment recently, then it's just ruined your entire week, then it's probably time to start spending more time working on yourself. Because they shouldn't control your mood. Yes, they should add to it. That is important. If they don't make you feel anything, then what's the point? But if they're the only thing that makes you happy, then what are you doing? Remember, you are still an individual person. A relationship isn't two people morphed into one. It's two individuals choosing to live life side by side. Number 4, this one's interesting. Instead of looking at how you feel when you're spending time with them, think about how you feel after you've had a meetup or a hangout, or after something's happened between the two of you. Because you might feel amazing when they're by your side, but if you feel kind of empty and drained after, then is this really the relationship you want to be in? This could happen for multiple reasons. Maybe you keep sacrificing parts of yourself, or this other person is pushing you down, and in the moment it feels okay because you're so overstimulated by your emotions. But if you feel awful after, then that can't be right. I remember after some of the best dates I went on, I was so happy and I was just dancing around my house because it genuinely felt good. It didn't just feel good in the moment. I probably felt more excited after. That's how I knew that those moments were good. But the last meetup we had, it felt okay in the moment, and I thought that was just me adjusting to this new dynamic. But after, I felt kind of empty because my gut was telling me something was off, and it was. Because after that last awkward hug we had, that was the last time we ever spoke. Number 5, tell somebody, ideally tell your friends. Ask them to be honest with you and ask them if you think you are being treated fairly. Because when I was in my relationship, I did tell my friends, and I had quite a few of them telling me that I shouldn't be tolerating this inconsistency. I had a friend who straight up told me to my face that he thinks we should break up. That was about a week before we actually did. because he could see that it wasn't right, that something was off, that I wasn't being treated as fairly as I wanted to be treated. I couldn't see it. I might have been able to tell him all the things that were wrong, but I still defend her and label myself as a problem because I was desperate to make it work. I really wanted it to work, and my emotions were completely clouding my logic. But my friend, he didn't have emotions clouding his logic. He could see things as they were, and he could give me the straight, logical perspective I needed. And so after it was over, I went and told him that he was right all along, that it wasn't going to work, and I should have listened to him instead of just defending her and blaming me. And now, before I end the video, I want to say something that is probably the most important thing in this entire video. At this age now, the chance of you getting heartbroken is very high. Like I said earlier, teenagers are inconsistent, they don't know what they're doing, most of them are immature, and they will mess you around and unintentionally or even intentionally break your heart. And unfortunately, you can't always avoid it, you can't always see it coming, and it always happens so suddenly that you probably won't be expecting it. The person you're with now, if you are with someone, you might think you're going to marry this person, and I hope you do. But just remember, if you're young, these relationships usually don't last. Sometimes they do, and I hope that yours will be one that makes it through, but most of them end for one reason or another, and I'm afraid you can't always avoid that. So my final piece of advice for you is that at the start of the relationship, you should make the conscious decision to go all in, as I like to call it. Now, by all in, I don't mean make your life evolve around them. No, I mean that be willing to put in your emotions and put your heart on the table, even if it means that you might get hurt. Because I promise you, even if it does break your heart because you decided to get involved emotionally and you gave up your trust to this person who turned out to not deserve it, yes, the breakup is tough, and for months you might think you'll never recover, but you will, and one day you'll look back and you will be so glad that it happened. You'll be glad you got these amazing moments. You'll be glad that you got to experience your first heartbreak, because a heartbreak is one of those once-in-a-lifetime opportunities. It's so depressing that when it's over, you can feel so uplifted, you can be so grateful for what you already have, and it will teach you a lot as well. You'll know what to expect in the next relationship, you'll know what to look for, and you'll be more switched on and more prepared, and your life will eventually improve. So I'm sorry if there's a heartbreak waiting for you in the future somewhere, but you know what? You only live once, so go for it. Get your heart broken and make those dreams you've had of relationships come true.